Hello, beautiful Vermonters and beautiful non-Vermonters. If you're in Vermont, going through Vermont, or interested in Vermont. So we love to have you and welcome you. And so I wanted to, I didn't realize that there was another round of people who I just read an article where there were 360 people out of 1,800 in Vermont in the Motel Program who just got displaced or had to leave. So I read in detail that article, but I just came across this article, and this one is really a little daunting. So, as some of you have heard about it, somebody just happened to mention it to me, and I didn't know what they were talking about, so that's why I looked it up today. But it says as eclipse watchers arrive in Vermont, some motel residents must pack up to make room. And this is by Carly Berlin, Vermont Public, and this story by Report for America Corps member Carly Berlin was produced through a partnership with between Vermont Digger and Vermont Public. So the title is so crass to me. And I know people who love monetary gain are going to say, well, they have to make their money somehow. They're making money. But listen to this article. At the Colchester Days Inn on Thursday afternoon, Annette Berry found herself contemplating a task that was both daunting and exhaustingly familiar: how to efficiently pack up all her belongings and move. So this is like a quote from her. She's like, my George Foreman, my crock pot, my ramen noodle pot, different things that you have when you have a home she's talking about. The 60-year-old said she had been homeless since 2019. So it's about 5 years. And that's how long this has really been hitting our economy too. When she lost her Section 8 voucher for an apartment in Florida. So she was first in Florida. That was rife with maintenance issues. The less money you have, those maintenance issues are just left. They just don't care. And that is a very sad state of a mindset that we're in now. She and her 77-year-old partner came to Vermont to be closer to their family, so they have family roots in Vermont. They've since shuttled between motels in Rutland, Barton, and Middlebury, made all the more difficult because they don't have a car, before finding a degree of stability at the Days Inn. That's what people need when they have fallen into or below that poverty level. They need stability. These are senior citizens. Anyway, now they're preparing to uproot again, as tens of thousands of visitors are expected to stream into northern Vermont this weekend to catch a glimpse of Monday's total solar eclipse. Some motels and hotels in the state's emergency shelter program are clearing the rooms to accommodate the celestial event. Look how they call it the celestial event. Well, how celestial is it to take a poor person, kick them when they're down, put them out in the street because you want to collect about $400 more that night, one night, who are driving up hotel prices across path of totality nationwide. Now, don't tell me they didn't have an idea that they were going to do this. The hotels knew. I worked in a hotel part-time to make extra money years ago. They know months ahead. Trust me. And if they were double booking when they had that hotel room, somebody was in that hotel room with no checkout date. They knew what they were doing months ahead. They were booking these rooms, and they let the state know. So why not for this week, make sure that these people are accommodated. Whether you're going to give that hotel the difference somehow, or that hotel has some kind of ethical heart, has some kind of a conscience working. They agreed. They've been getting money consistently. Listen to this. Hotel rooms in Chittenden County this weekend are booking upwards $500 a night. The state currently pays them $80 a night to shelter unhoused. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's almost $100 a night. $80 a night. That's nothing to sneeze at. That's $2,400 a month for one room. So, they've got how many rooms? Even if they have 30 rooms, 35 rooms, that's $10,000 a month. Three lodging establishments that shelter unhoused Vermonters have told the state they would not accept state vouchers in the days. Oh, so now they only gave them a few days' notice leading up to the eclipse. The Anchorage Inn in South Burlington and Motel 6 Days in Colchester. Around 50 households were sheltered through the program at the Chittenden County. This is so wrong, people. It really is. Can you see how shallow this is? Look, Vermont can be, in my opinion, the biggest tourist state if they put their mind to it. If they let us artists, for example, set up and every weekend without a big problem. Right now, you can't. 30 years ago, I could set a table up and sell art. Now, I wanted to be part of that co-op, and I have to have this, and this. They make it very expensive to even have a table. If they did away with that and just let people and have people monitor on a volunteer basis to make sure everything's going okay, get the communities together and let us celebrate how beautiful Vermont is and get the makers out, get the trail hiker guides out, and welcome people to the state of Vermont. Yes, we would have a tourist economy. But to take our people, homeless, and throw them in the street so you can make an extra $400 that night, that's not right. That's just sick. Really, it is. Around 50 households are sheltered through the program at the Chittenden County locations, with the majority days in, said Miranda Gray, Deputy Commissioner of Department of Children and Family Economic Services. So even DCF can't protect these families. This should be against the law, in my opinion, to take a family and throw them out and gauge the amount that this is what hotels do. They're going to, I know what they do. Okay, I get it. And people are going to say, hey, that's what they do. That's how they make their money. But you know what? When you have this is a safety issue. This is an issue where you're throwing people in the street. That is a mental health issue. It's a crisis. You're putting somebody into crisis to make your extra money for that one night. Because a lot of those people, they're heading back to where they came from because they're not going to be able to spend $2,000 to stay for another couple of nights. Okay, so most of the households impacted have indicated the state that they have friends and family who can host them during the eclipse interruption. Now, that is something that should have been happening for the past several months. DCF primarily, yes, The state, yes. Field workers, yes. They all should have been. This should not have been a surprise at all. But to even do this is, in my book, it's just, I have words for this I cannot use on YouTube. I'm not that kind of person, so I won't use these words, but I'll tell you, they're rolling up. So, about a third of the impacted households are required to contribute a portion of their income to the state. About a third of the impacted households are required to contribute. Contribute means pay a portion of their income. Why don't they say pay a portion of their income to the state to maintain their voucher in the form of self-pay days at the motels? In the other article I read, which it goes through a lot of detail, you really get the sense that there's an incredible amount of confusion going on between the agencies, field workers, and motel workers. And this is very sad, by the way. Every month, such households can decide to leave the motels rather than pay for the days. That means these households could essentially disappear from the state's radar for a few days over the eclipse and then reemerge after. Disappear from the state's radar for a few days over the eclipse and then reemerge afterwards. Barry made plans to stay with her daughter over the long weekend, though she hesitated to ask for the favor. This should not have happened. I'm going to tell you, we are not protecting and advocating for the people who are not making enough money to pay $2,000 rents. We're not advocating. We're not helping. This is not okay. She worries packing her daughter's home in Ferrisburg could jeopardize a family custody situation because of overcrowding. Now, you got kids here who are trying to go to school. That seriously makes me very upset. After she fears that telling the state that she can stay with her daughter could make it appear that she doesn't need her motel room anymore. So, she's worried about custody issues. When you have families who are separated, there's a lot of tension already. And then you change the whole picture and the whole scenario. And you're doing this to children here. Every other month, it sounds like to me, they're uprooting families. Consistency is extremely important for families to get out of poverty. And consistency so they can pay a consistent amount of money and not an excessively high amount. That's what's putting people, into poverty. So my daughter is the one that said, "Why would you stay in a tent?" She said, "You can come here." Barry said, "I don't want to lose my voucher," she said. "You're only coming to visit." This is ridiculous. You're putting them out in the street and they're afraid to lose their voucher, so they're going to sleep in a tent. Well, yeah, that's one way of looking at it. Anyway, asked about Barry's concern, Gray emphasized that the motel program is meant to be an option for the last resort. If there are reasons why family or friends can't are you serious, people? If there are reasons why family and friends can't accommodate somebody permanently, most people are just making it. Their family and friends are just making it themselves. They probably most likely don't have enough room. In the apartment complexes, it is not unusual now to see 2 and 3 different couples or families in the city, and it's small. And the landlords aren't saying anything because what they're getting their rent. What are they going to say? They're going to have an empty building if they say anything different. I mean, this is worse than the Depression. In the Depression, people could get together, families could get together, and they could figure out to get through and pay. They could even save money to get bigger accommodation. Now you can't even save. You're in the negative with 2 and 3 families together. Um, so they can't accommodate. I can't even believe what I just read here. So yeah, your friends and family can take care of you. The, nice if they can, but those are the conversations that we have with people every day to really try to understand what the situation is. The situation is coming from how the government is what the system looks like. That's the real problem. It's not what these people are not doing or doing. They're working and they're still not being able to make it. For others, unhoused guests at the Days Inn, staff have attempted to house multiple people in a given room for a weekend. So, there's so many contradictions here, I can't even tell you right now. While the hotel, I can't even tell you because listen to that. For other unhoused guests at the Days Inn, staff have attempted to house multiple people in a given room for the weekend. And that's the same thing they were doing down at the shelter. Putting a bunch of people in one room. That is very unhealthy. It's unhealthy mentally, it causes anxiety, it's unhealthy physically, and I'm sorry, I challenge that. I don't believe that is what we have to resort to. I think we can do better. We can do better. And it comes from the highest of the high here in the government. There needs to be changes going on, big time. While the hotel was booked solid for the eclipse weekend months ahead of time. Months ahead of time, didn't I tell you that they booked them months ahead of time? Some visitors have canceled their stays. There you go, that always happens. And as rooms have opened up, now there's more confusion, okay? Because pack, because you're a poor person and I'm putting you out right now, pack, because I want an extra 400 about. Oh, no, wait a minute now. They canceled, I'll take the 80. Do you know how unethical that is? Think about that for a minute. And as the rooms have opened up, employees have offered to bunk up multiple unhoused guests in rooms together to give them an option other than sleeping out in the elements. Well, isn't that kind of them? Yes, I'm being a little facetious, but listen here. It's almost like you put a dollar bill in front of somebody and go like that, and they're going to go just like that. That is the mentality that we employ today, and that is sad. That is shallow. One guest who agreed to speak about this living situation under the condition of anonymity, yeah, they don't want their name out there, said he'll be tripling up with 2 other guests he was grouped with by the hotel for the days surrounding the eclipse. It's a roof over our head, he said. This is number one topic every single day for somebody in crisis. Is where do I live? How do I live? How do I stay protected? How do I get shelter? How do I get food? How do I stay warm? Because I'm a human being. I'm not a bear. I can't go curl up in a cave somewhere and sleep for a couple of months and wake up. I will get hypothermia. It's a roof over our head, he said, in the parking lot on Thursday. It's better than other options. Gabe Handy, who owns the hotel, declined to comment. Of course he did. What's he going to say? What's he going to say in the middle of chaos? That, yes, his system, it's not his system, it's the system that the hotels and motels employ. It's a sad one. That's a very, very poor moral code. Nothing prevents the motel and hotel owners from declining to provide rooms for unhoused guests through the state program. The state does not have a contract with the lodging. It doesn't matter, contract or no contract. You have a soul. You have a verbal agreement, don't you? Many times that upholds. If you have consistently offered this, and this for the last, some odd days, pretty much it looks like it's an agreement to me. I guess you just decided to, that's it. Must be nice. It's not right. The state does not have a contract for the lodging establishments historically when large numbers of people came to certain parts of the state at once, such as during college graduation weekends. There's a disruption in Motel Program. The state is interested in entering into longer term contracts with the motel and hotels, but as lawmakers debate the program's future beyond the summer, there's a lot of uncertainty. Without knowing what the scale of the program, well, you know what the governor needs to do is create mock programs of a hotel and motel, not to rely on a real hotel and motel. If the hotel motel thing is working, then the state can have their own hotel motel type deal. Okay? Consider these a mock program, create your own program or proxy program, put it in place, and no, seriously, subsidize it as a motel, and then do your own program. Paul Dragon, Executive Director of Champlain Valley Office of Economic Opportunity, said the temporary eclipse displacements highlights the drawbacks of depending on businesses to shelter people. The bottom line is that, we rely on hotels, which has been really good in many ways. We've been able to shelter so many people. We saw that through COVID. And we also know that when you rely on for-profit businesses to do the work, there's a different orientation. Gray also, whatever. Describe it whichever way you want. I mean, okay, the only other way to look at it is that, like I said, the hotels knew they were booking people months in advance. The communication should have been communicated to DCF and the state, and this chaos should not be occurring. Chaos should occur at a very low level. You're planning and you know this. You get the people placed. You get them placed. You don't talk to family members who are barely making it themselves, most likely, unless they're millionaires. And if they're millionaires, their relatives would not be in a program. I'm just saying it like it is. We're all struggling here. So anyway, that's pretty much it. And it ends with, I'm still praying to God that come Sunday, I'll be good till Tuesday and get my voucher reviewed. But I mean, this is how people are going day to day here in Vermont. So this is a huge, you have a huge gap going on. I mean, like my vision of the eclipse is Burlington is the center of the eclipse. So I'm like, okay, are these people with their glasses and binoculars and everything going to be stepping over the people sleeping in front of the movie theater? I mean, Vermont has a lot of work to do. And I'd be happy to volunteer to help them get things organized. I'm serious, because you have got to start months ahead. And you can't just mail out mailings and expect people to be ready. That's what I was reading in the other article. They were mailing out little letters for them to renew their vouchers and then waiting. You can't do that. You have to be right on it. You have to be communicating directly. Anyway, okay, so the next video here on this station, on this channel, when I get to 100 subscribers, guess what? We're going to go live, because, I love the way everybody's keeping it civil. It's a very passionate, tenuous topic. This really, really is, because a lot of people, they want to just kind of throw out there, hey, they're all lazy, and you want to clump stigmatized generalities out there, and we can't do that. That's not fair. It's not fair to your grandmother, your daughter, your cousin, your brother or sister, because it could be any one of them today. And so, anyway, with that, I pray that you have a beautiful, safe day, and we'll see you in the next one.